Hey, what's up guys? Jay Martin here. Today's video is going to be about the story of me dropping out after 2 months of starting my own first ever business. Now, before I get into the commentary, I do want to thank you for watching, and if you're a small business owner yourself, or maybe you can't seem to find a way to start, maybe you're just looking for some inspiration here, tune in with me to the end. I will be dropping some nuggets in mindset and things like that. So, if anything you hear seems to resonate with you or add some sort of value to you in any way, I hope you subscribe and give this video a like. And just a quick disclaimer, I do want to dive into more of what the timelines were like in the first 2 to 3 months of operating my business, and especially putting more emphasis on how it began, because it was always the how that was hard to figure out, right? Like, how am I going to start? How am I going to find the people, the resources, the information? The why was always there. The pursuit to do something meaningful for myself was a given. I'm sure it is to all of us if you know your why. So, to those wondering, I started out in the e-commerce space through Shopify and eventually ventured into different branches of e-commerce like dropshipping and other entrepreneurial stuff. But let's talk about the first ever endeavor, which was holding up my own inventory through a local supplier and then shipping out orders myself to eventually, hiring out people to do the tedious tasks for me once I scaled high enough. So let's start from the beginning. So in my third year of college, I switched courses like 3 times every single year of college. And in high school, if you ask me what career I was gonna pick, I wouldn't know what to tell you, okay? I was big into sports, but then I got a bad knee injury, and then I transitioned to the next favorite thing, which was fitness. So I had that mask for a while, but I didn't excel in it because even though I worked out hard every single day, my lifestyle outside the gym didn't resemble health and fitness, right? I was a degenerate. But nothing I had a passion for was school related. Nothing. So, my first year of college, I took up applied physics. However, my dad wanted me to pursue engineering, but my grades were too bad for it. Well, then, how the hell did I get accepted in applied physics? I have no clue, okay? During my interview, I told the interviewer I wanted to build a rocket ship and become the next Albert Einstein. Now, of course, it was a tongue in cheek statement, but true story. So, 1 year of cheating in that course, I was the dumbest kid in class, and I was paying my classmates to give me all their answers with my allowance money, and that was how I managed to survive. So, the next year, I took up sociology, and what did I do in sociology? Absolutely nothing. I didn't know why I was there. I wanted to take a year off college to see things through for myself, but my dad forced me and said if I wanted him to support me financially, I should be staying in college. So I soldiered through that for another year of cheating my way in, and I was completely miserable. My last and final year of college, I took up entrepreneurship. And finally, it was something that made a little bit more sense to me. But just the premise, I didn't last 12 months of entrepreneurship in college. I didn't even know how to spell the word entrepreneurship. But when I was 8 years old, I told myself one thing about my future, and it was that I was going to be rich and I was going to have six-pack abs. And I told myself this as an obese kid jiggling my belly fat. So to this point growing up, I switched primary schools or grade school every 1 to 2 years, and I went to about four different grade schools. And once I finally graduated from that, going from one high school to another, and even going to a different country to finish my high school diploma. And I've already mentioned what college life was like to me, so you're up to pace with that. But one thing I realized from all the institutions I've been to is I knew the school system's flawed. But this was my own opinion and for my own goals, and I wasn't gonna wait 4 years to be labeled as an entrepreneur when I could just go out of my own way and become one myself. And it's so easy now to compare your shortcomings to others' successes, especially nowadays. And I don't mean comparing in every single detail, but just realize that things are a lot more possible to achieve than you think. Don't put what media presents to you on a pedestal, but if you can find one person that has similar circumstances that you're starting on and they're succeeding in a level that you want to, then that's your blueprint to win. You can duplicate that and innovate it in your own way. So, anyways, I looked around for everyone that I could possibly find that was at least doing something good for themselves, and I'm just coming from a standpoint that wasn't dealt with a silver spoon. Like, my dad wasn't going to give me anything. He wanted me to become an engineer just like him, but I rebelled against that idea, so I'm off for myself. So I had to find someone that could mentor me, someone I could mimic and learn from. And I bumped into this girl I knew that was buying her first apartment, and she was just a little bit older than me. And I asked her, how are you able to afford such a nice apartment at such a young age? And she said it was through Shopify sales online. And from there, I found out what I was looking for. Like, that was the formula. That was the vehicle I needed to get me somewhere. So I looked up online how I could start a Shopify store. I looked up something that could add value to someone. I did product research. I made sure it was niche down to a specific audience. I learned how to do digital marketing all by myself. Now, at this point, I was still in college and I was not doing anything fun anymore. Like, I fully immersed myself into this. I told myself I had enough fun in my teenage years and I was going to do something that would propel me towards my real goals in life. So, after I sorted the back end of my business, like creating a plan and having my website ready, I launched my first ever social media campaign with basically 2 weeks of lunch money, and boom, I doubled my money in 5 days. And I smiled, but it wasn't really enough. But I did it. I had my proof of concept. This was what's going to make me rich. And in a month, I was making more money than my own teachers in school. But yet, I told nobody what I was doing except for my father. Now, at this point, I felt like I knew what I was doing and I struck gold, but my motivation for school wasn't there anymore. So I just stopped attending without the knowledge of my dad and without the knowledge of anybody else, really. Do I recommend doing that? Probably not, okay? Probably not, but that's what I did. Now, this was a formative part of my life because I decided I'm going all in. So they say insanity is doing everything over and over again and expecting a different result. So I decided to look at everything I was doing and only did the things that were in line with my goals. So I did my 10,000 hours of learning Facebook ads and other paid social media platforms and made sure I was better than everyone else at it. When I wasn't learning about the best social media ad strategies, I was either working out or during my downtime before going to sleep, I was reading self-help books, business books, and other books that revolves around being successful. Now, when I said I was going to stop doing things that weren't in line with my goals, I really did that. I audited the people around me. This was during quarantine now, so it was a perfect training ground to really hone in, to improve, to expand, and like make progress. So I deactivated all my social media platforms, eliminating friends and even family members from my life, and only used socials that were under my business accounts and under my business's names, and only talked to people that were in business with me. Now, eventually, of course, I did create an account just for my family, but I really did eliminate everything else at this point in my life. And as long as the 3 to 5 people in my life were alive, I thought, okay, everything else is just secondary to me. And I was in tunnel vision and was making more than your average PhD doctor. And I remember receiving my first invoice of $100 in front of my dad, which I literally made out of lunch money. And down the road, over $10,000 invoices in front of my dad with the same reaction, just a little smirk on my face. And yes, eventually I did have to talk with my dad, telling him I was dropping out. And he reacted in a way all parents you could imagine react, but I left him with no choice but to accept it. All right. That's how things ended up for me my first 2 to 3 months. That's how I did it. And am I a millionaire now? No, not yet. Do I have a house or a Lamborghini? No. Actually, planning to get a rental property soon, but there's a difference between a Fortune 500 company versus starting a lean one person operation that pays the bills. But to me, this stuff is formulaic. Anybody can do this, and I am proof of that. And what really winds me up is that it's really easy for me to tell you guys my before and after. I remember my relatives when my dad told my family about it when I really started to have money come in, and my relatives would say, "Wow, that's amazing." But it's really hard to show what it looked like when I was afraid all the time, when I made transactions that would lead me to almost restarting my whole progress, when I believed to the core of my being that I was stupid and incapable, as what everyone in school told me growing up, that I could never start a business, and I didn't know anything about it, to be lost and hopeless with toxic friends and family, and I was just stuck with the question of how? How am I even going to start? And to where I'm at now, to be learning from my past and learning from mistakes of others and mistakes of authors and books and all the volatility and nuance. I mean, I'm not comfortable yet and I'm not satisfied. Far, far from perfect. I'm an incredibly flawed individual and I believe that, but I sure am grateful. Also, what's more important, I do want to share about how it wasn't all rainbows and good fortune. So, if you want to hear all the mistakes I made in scaling a profitable e commerce store and all the terrible business decisions in general, I'll be glad to talk about it. So, actually, on my third month, there was one mistake, which was my first big mistake that almost broke everything down. And I actually was on the brink of being broke and question everything. If I was actually skilled and if I was just lucky. So, I think exposing all that would be pretty interesting and valuable to you guys on your journey. I just want to be fully transparent with you guys and tell you all about everything from the good, bad, and the ugly. My goal is to really just have a community of like minded people, people that are willing to change their lives and just create a better version of themselves. And right now, guess what? I don't have a lot of friends, but I choose to just for a bit. If you're the most ambitious person in your circle, hey, find a better circle. Hit the subscribe button. We can be friends. Yeah, just a little advice inspired by Jay-Z. But he says, and I quote, you have to believe that you can quiet the outside noise. Believe in who you are, because that's the foundation of being great. And I ponder on that quote and think, when you change, when you start to do something selfish for yourself to create a better you that's worth being, your surroundings, your family, and even your so called friends that you might think have the best interest in you, even they might start questioning you and say what you're doing isn't right. But as long as you're working towards what you desire and what you know is intuitively right for you, even though it's not practical for others, and I know you right now that if you're watching to the end, that says a lot about you. So there's something in you that you do passionately to such length that others don't understand. I remember when I was trying to get fit, when I was fat and I was trying to lose some weight, I'd go out for a run and it starts raining. And my family says, hey, why are you running outside? Come back in. I was like, nah, this is what I got to do. These are my goals, and you don't get that. You want to be different from everyone else? Stop acting like everybody else does. So, whatever your goal is, just keep striving. It's the hard work that's not respected that really counts. Keep on persevering. All right, guys, that's it from me today. Peace and love.